Cool. That. I will get this one of these days. Cool. Stream is working. All right. So if you are in the stream, feel free to leave a chat. Let me know that you're here. Again, this is my first time doing something like this. We're going to go through updating this tiny trainer with the mspVTX so that it has full smart audio capability, but using MSP DisplayPort. Using mspVTX. So we're going to use the same MSP UART that we're using for OSD to also control the VTX for channel changing and power levels. And this is enabled by a new pull request that's being added into Betaflight 4.4 called mspVTX. So this is going to be a bit advanced. We're going to be pulling a test firmware basically from this pull request to flash onto the flight controller. And then we're also going to be grabbing the latest open source build of the HDZero VTX and flashing that onto the VTX. Once we have that set up, we need to do some CLI commands to set up the serial port mapping for this new MSP VTX protocol because that's not in the Betaflight configurator yet. Okay, so I'm looking. Kelly says is going to replay it tomorrow. Well, I hope this works out for you, Kelly. We'll see how it goes. And if anybody else has questions along the way, feel free to let me know. Could even be something other than mspVTX. So we're going to go through this, and what you'll see is that this isn't just for HDZero. It's actually for OpenVTX, for analog VTXs, and I suppose other companies, other even digital VTXs could implement this in the future. So it's good to have a standard. And the most important line that we're going to need to type in is this one here, this serial, where serial 0 is your UART1. And then this is the unique ID number for this new mspVTX feature. This is the baud rate of the communication between the VTX and the flight controller. And in this example, this is actually wrong. We cannot use 96K baud because it'll be too slow. So we need to go up to 115,200. So I'll get into that when we get to it. Just be forewarned. This will frustrate you because you will get it wrong if you just copy and paste. So what we need to do is go down to the bottom of this pull request, all the way to the bottom. And there's this GitHub Actions. This is where GitHub is automatically making firmware hex files for our flight controllers based on pushes to the code. So what we're going to do is download the assets. So I'll click on that, and that gives you an assets.zip. And let's open that up and extract it. So this is where it gets pretty interesting. I imagine a lot of you have never flashed a hex file for firmware for your flight controller. You've probably always just used the Betaflight configurator to automatically grab the right hex file for you. So what I need to do is walk you through how this works. Let's switch this. I was trying to make it bigger, but I don't think I can. We need to find the right target for our flight controller. So we have in here a STM32F7 and then an F405. That's actually the one I'm going to be using. F411, F411 SX1280. I haven't done it, but I'm pretty sure that XX1280 is going to be for like a Whoop all-in-one with the Express LRS built on. There's more F7s here, and there's an H7 here. So what we need to do is figure out what target your flight controller has. So we need to connect to Betaflight, and I'll show you the spot to look at. Here's Betaflight, and I'm going to connect up my quad and hope it works. All right, so it did detect and connect to it. And the key thing that we need to look at here is target. So up by the Betaflight logo, it's kind of hard to see, but it says target BEFH beta FPV. And then the important bit here is STM32F405. So if I look at this, and I look for STM32F405, that's my match. So that is the hex file that I'm going to use. If I had an F7 flight controller, it would be showing up here as like STM32F7, and then I would match that up with the hex file over here. So before I flash this, I'm going to make sure I make a backup of everything. So I'm going to go to CLI. And let's see, sometimes I do a diff all, sometimes I do a dump all. I think in this case, I will do probably just a diff all. So what a diff all does is it creates just a small set of changes that you've made to the drone from the defaults. And I think I'm going to do that because I want like a minimum amount of changes that I'm going to be applying to this new firmware. So let's do a saved file. Tiny trainer. I've actually already set up another one of these because I have two tiny trainers that are identical. So if this doesn't end up working out, I'll have one that I know works, but let's just go ahead and do this. Stock before mspVTX. So that's just my backup. Right, so we're going to disconnect, and then we're going to click on Update Firmware. And I'm actually going to do auto detect, and you'll see why. I'm going to load the firmware online. This is a little counterintuitive. And then I'm going to actually say, just kidding, I don't care about the firmware online. I want to load the local one that I downloaded. So I'm just going to navigate to the downloads directory and grab f405.hex. We'll flash that. I guess that's while that's flashing, I'll see what the chat is saying. Yeah, so you're saying the text is a little bit small. I could bump up my DPI a little bit to make things a little bit bigger, but I am streaming at 1440p. I hope you will be able to see it if you watch it on a computer with a good internet connection. So that's almost applied. Very good. So now we're going to connect. And so this is why I loaded the firmware online. When you load the firmware online, it will get kind of like the custom defaults that you need to apply to this particular target. This is a beta FPV one of an F4 or 5. Anyway, just do the load online, and then you'll have this apply custom defaults, which is usually a good thing to do. Okay. This is just saying I'm using a older configurator than it probably should be because I've got a 4.4 build of Betaflight here. And if I didn't already tell you this, this is experimental. Your mileage is definitely going to vary. Just do this if you're really curious. Okay, now I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to load from file my backup. See, where did I have that? I'm going to go spelunking through my file system here and find my backup. Tiny. All right, so I found it. Well, it's right here. And then I named it stock before mspVTX. And execute that. So I do have a one red. Let's see what that is saying. It says the anti-gravity thing is a lie. I will accept that. We are, moving between versions here. So let's do save. Okay. Now I'm going to look at my ports. So I had MSP set up on UART4. So UART4 is going to be the one that I want to map not OpenVTX, mspVTX to. So I'll go back to CLI and we're going to open up the docs on that pull request. All the way back at the top. Okay, so this is saying, here's the example for OpenVTX. I'm going to copy it. And just remember, this is wrong. This won't work for HDZero. So I need to change serial 0 to be serial 3. So it's UART4. I need to subtract 1 from that to get to what it is in base 0. So serial 3 is UART4. This right here is the ID basically for mspVTX. This 9600 needs to change to this 115200 or it won't work. So we need to communicate at the correct speed. So once I run this command, I should have mspVTX. So just saved there. Next step, I need to download. Let's just make sure everything's happy here. So that one's still happy. And yeah, I'll just disconnect. So my next step is I need to update the firmware on the VTX. So we're going to go to HDZero open source project. So we're getting to the GitHub for HDZero. Go to the VTX repository in there. And then we need to go to Actions. And I think here, yes. So I'm going to pull, trying to think about which one I want to pull. So these are all builds of the open source VTX firmware. There's a new build that's made for every single push to the repository. And I guess what I'm going to do, because I'm feeling lucky, is I'm just going to grab the latest one. Okay. So this is a whoop VTX. So I'm going to grab the whoop. Save that. Okay. So now I need to get my SD card out of my goggle. No HDZero goggle to show you on the stream today. You'll have to wait for that one. SD card. I don't think I need to show you this, but I'm going to take HDZero tx.bin from the open source that VTX firmware I just downloaded, copy it. I'm going to put it on the root top level directory of the SD card. And we're going to eject this. And I'm going to put that into the old, let's see here, if I go back to OBS. The camera, cool. Oh, my camera die? No, I guess my camera died. But yeah, I'm just going to update the firmware. So I'm just plugging in the update cable into the VTX. And what I'll do once I get this going is I'll set the camera view to be the VRX, and then you'll be able to see what the camera sees. Power this up. That fan is my my goggle. Updated suspiciously fast, so I don't really trust that it worked, but we'll see. Right. Now I'm gonna find a USB and plug this Bifrost monitor in. Okay, so let's go to broadcast. So I think it's showing my VRX now. Moment of truth. Grab my radio too. And battery. There we go. Okay, we got a signal. Let's see here. Do there it goes. Yeah, I'm figuring out OBS. All right, so we have that working. Now, let's see if smart audio is working. Or mspVTX. So we're going to switch the channel to 4. It's looking like a probably not. So we've got BO4, channel 2, 25. Okay, power cycle just to be sure that it's not just a first time boot up issue. Okay. So let's figure this out. To see. So unplug that. All right, so we get to troubleshoot. Why is this not working? So we got the right firmware loaded on the VTX and on Betaflight. I'm going to run a command called serial here, which will tell me what each of the serials are assigned to. So I don't see that ID for mspVTX here. I'm going to open that back up on the side. So I should see this 131073. Oh, there it is, 131073 on 4.3. Same thing. 115200 57600. Huh. I gotta figure out what it is. Tuner Taxi is asking why he can't get his Bifrost monitor to power through USB. You can power it through USB only if it's a USB-A to USB-C cable, like a real USB-C cable from that has USB-C on both ends does not work. One of my pet peeves is when things get implemented that way. So it's not like a true USB-C device. That's the reason. So use like a charge-only cable is the answer. Now, what is the reason for this not working, though? Let's see if I don't have telemetry turned on. Okay, so let's go to ports. Configuration. So I had telemetry turned off because I'm an idiot. All right. So my smart audio command is not through Lua script is not going to do anything when I have telemetry turned off on the drone. So let's try this again and disconnect. Full of rookie mistakes here tonight. And we'll flip this back to the camera view. So you should be able to see what the Bifrost sees. Okay, so far so good, because R2 isn't seeing anything, and I told it, oh, darn. All right, let's try send. That's still looking like a no bueno. Let's try features, VTX. VTX not responding or not configured. I don't like that. Okay. Okay. So telemetry was an issue, but it's still not the problem. So UART4 configuration MSP. What else am I missing here? I'm gonna grab my one that I know works. Let's see what's different. So we got a second one turned on now. That one's on R1. I'm going to tell it to go to 3, and it did work. So I'm going to switch the Bifrost down a channel. So it is on 3. And here I'll set it to 0. That should turn it off, and it did. So I'll set it back to this number, so 25 milliwatt. Okay, so that guy's happy. It's my tiny trainer with working mspVTX. Okay, so let's pull the settings off of this guy and see what's going on. So that one's configured the same way. If I go to CLI and look up serial, I have serial 3 set to this unique number, 115200. All looking good. I'm going to copy that. And also let's do clear and if all. And I'm going to save this working one. Disconnect. And on this one, I'm going to apply the same dump. Just to see if we can get that working. Because I might have missed something. So disconnect. All right, so I think that did something. Yeah, that did. So I'm going to switch this to 4. It should switch channels now. And yeah, it did. Okay. So I missed something. Because this is working now. What did I miss? Feel like I should figure this out for you guys. You're not going to be able to complete it if I don't figure out why this didn't work. All right. Let's do some retracing of our steps. What did I miss? So 131073, 131073. We've got our baud rate. Put here. What did I miss? All right, so we got connected back up. At this point, everything is working because I just flashed the dump that I knew worked. Thinking here, what should I do? So I got to get back to state from before. Um, hmm. So we got this serial. Let's try purposely setting it to something that's wrong. Something like that. And then save. And then this will make it so it doesn't work. Yep, so it just came up. And we'll try to change this to 3. And it doesn't do anything. So that is the right serial to run. So I'll go back. And I'll power it up. It came up on 4. It should have come up on 3. Oh. So that command is wrong. Okay, we can work with that. Five, try to send that. Just doesn't listen. All right. That command didn't work. The other one did. All right, I can work with that. So we're going to do a comparison of the current diff to the working diff and see what's different. Obviously, there's something wrong with that serial command I gave it. So I'll first do this and diff all. Save that to a file. Not working. Here they are. Because we're just looking at a diff, not a dump, there's only going to be so many changes. Normally I would use a tool that would show me just the differences here. And I might still do that, but let's just see if we can eyeball this. So I'm going to look for serial. Got some aux switches that are serial. Okay, so not working is missing the serial 0, whatever that is. And let's see if these are different. So this is working. 115, 200, 57. Those are identical. But we are missing whatever this 00 is for UART1. And take a look at the VTX table, see if that's any different. That's looking okay. All right. So I'm going to do 0064. And go back to here and do serial just to see what it comes back with. Cool. I mean, it is possible that I'm just having trouble because I'm using a Betaflight configurator for 4.3. But we'll see. All right. Yeah, that was it. That was it. So I've got a switch here that will flip between 0 and 200 and off. And it does work. And I can change the channels. So I'll change it to channel 2. There's channel 2. Yeah, everything works. Well, that's drones for you. Giant pain in the butt. But you can usually figure anything out if you're methodical enough. What is this serial that I ended up adding in anyway? So I added in for serial 0, 64 was missing. I'm thinking that's probably something I screwed up from the configurator being for the wrong version of Betaflight. I'll pop this open and then take a look at ports. So 00 is going to be going to UART1. So it must have been messing up like my RX, my serial RX. That doesn't make sense. I don't know. It was a pain in the butt. If you don't want this pain in the butt, I recommend following the instructions a little bit closer than I did. So if you go to this pull request, I believe there's a link to a new version of the Betaflight configurator that actually just has a drop down for mspVTX, and it's targeting Betaflight 4.4, which is the right thing to do. So it says software setup. You need a special version of the configurator for setup. So you'd grab this one. So this is the Betaflight configurator now. VTX device over MSP. And then I believe we would pull down one of these GitHub actions. See if there's like a more recent one in here. So a Betaflight action for Windows, in my case. And that's going to pull down like a nightly build or a on push build of the Betaflight configurator that then has this option. I am actually going to install this and run this because I am curious just how much nicer this makes this experience. I just figured I could skip this and just type in the command line, but I'm pretty sure I just screwed everything up by doing that. Okay, so that is now the Betaflight configurator 10.9. I'm going to run this one. And I got to shut down current Betaflight configurator, it says. So it doesn't like installing a new one while you have that one open. So we're going to install this new Betaflight configurator, connect up, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see now in the peripherals column on the ports tab the option for mspVTX. So I'm just going to start that up now. I don't know if I'm getting the debug nightly one or if I'm getting the release one when I launch it from Windows. So I did just install it. Betaflight configurator. I don't think it worked. Okay, so I'm going to run the portable. Okay, I'm going to put this on your screen so you can see it. All right, so there's an installer here, and then there's a portable one which doesn't install. It says all the files you need in the file, in the zip file. Oh, awkward. All right, extract all. Sure. Super exciting stuff. Here, I'll give you the progress bar so you can see. So it's got a ton of small files in it, so of course it takes forever to unzip on Windows. Hey Lamone. Hey Lamone, I got a request for you. Can you make a CAC firmware for me that's got mspVTX pulled into it on Betaflight 4.3 so that I can stop embarrassing myself? I need it for the F405 target. And while you're at it, I don't know what other targets these guys need online, but I noticed that there's at least like 5 or 6 other targets. Okay, so now we have Betaflight configurator, and we get to launch it. And we say, yes, I do want to run that. and then it crashes again. Let's see. Go to my task manager. I have a bunch of beta flights running that I cannot see. I should start killing them. The joys of Windows. There it goes. Cool. All right, now we will connect back to the drone. Go to ports. Yay, that was way too much work. So with the beta flight 4.4 firmware with the 10.9 configurator pull request, we now have a VTX MSP option in the peripherals section of the UART. And that's what we were trying to assign with the what was it? With the serial command. It was just setting like this unique ID for VTX MSP and setting the right baud rate. And something about the other configurator I think was knocking out settings on 4.4. So that's it. If you did download the correct configurator and install it, probably run it from this portable, you would go to the ports tab and you just pick mspVTX on peripherals and you're done. So moral of the story is don't try to be cute like me and do things through command line. Just download the GUI. Yes, Limon. Let's do it for all the targets. And I really like your CAC firmware, by the way. I've been using it to set my throttle limit really quickly and other things. It's just, it's also a lot faster for exiting failsafe mode when I'm switching between drones for team racing. You did really good work there. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. And what I would recommend, if you want to get even more cute and advanced with how to configure your VTX, you can watch my other video on how to configure team racing, changing channel and power level on a switch, and setting up failsafe to move between drones. Sayings like, so read the manual. Yeah, I know. So, you know, the first time I did this, I did it all through CLI, and it worked. I didn't do the GUI, so I didn't have to read the manual. But read the manual. And as for reading the manual, we do have this comment about disconnect the smart audio wire. If you have like a race VTX with smart audio, it's just going to confuse things, I think, having that hooked up. Yeah, turn on. I do have to tell you this. If you have smart audio configured on your race VTX and you try to use this mspVTX feature, it won't work. You have to turn off smart audio first in the ports tab, then configure mspVTX. It's super obvious once you think about it, but I did make that mistake. Pretty cool. I found that mspVTX is faster and more reliable than smart audio ever was. for HDZero. And I can't confuse it by flipping the switch, on and off, on and off, on and off. It'll just go to the right state every time. So I've been pretty happy with that. I think there are a few bugs I've found, but I'm not sure if it's on the flight controller or on the VTX. So the more people that try this out, I guess the more testers there will be giving feedback. So I think that's it for tonight. Hope you had fun watching me stumble. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions setting things up. If you're going to come to the team race, I'd love to help you set up anything that you might have trouble setting up. It can be available through Messenger or Discord or whatever to help you get things configured properly. So Uriah would like to ask a few questions about the HDZero team race event on August 27th. Yeah, go ahead. See if I can switch this thing back to my camera. Professional YouTuber here, that's what I am. Let's see if I can figure this out. See if I can figure out OBS. So we go to OBS. We say deactivate, activate. Oh, you're still unhappy, aren't you? I'll figure you out. Got it. OBS is a wonderful tool, but it's buggy. So asking to demo the goggles, do I need to buy your own HDZero stuff? No. You can just come and I'll have my drones that you can try out. So I think I'll have some whoops set up, and then of course I'll have my 5-inch racers there and my tiny trainers. So I just got all those set up for team racing tonight. And then I'm also going to be flying a wing or a plane. I'm not sure which one yet, so that we can do some chasing, just having some fun at the airfield. I'll see if I can get my friend out that he puts a 20-foot long or 30-foot long streamer on his plane, and then we go and chase it with our drones and try to cut it. And that'd be a really fun thing to do all together and get all that video all compiled together. So we won't just be racing. All right, I'm gonna sign off for tonight. Yeah, hopefully you have a better time setting this up than I did. Okay.